So it's important to begin the presentation with defining what action is. Um, it is monitoring social media channels like the image to the left shows Twitter, Facebook, Google, um, blogs even, and it's monitoring them for keywords, brands, product, industry terms, or competitors' names. Um, and it is putting this data into a dashboard that you will see on the next slide. This is a tool that can help you recognize how popular maybe your brand is, or your competitor's brand, or trends, or to see what's happening, um, especially with trends that allows you to know what's going out in popularity and what is becoming popular. This basically just it allows you to make business decisions based on social media. We become a world today that use social media to talk about everything, um, more so than anywhere else. So I'm a visual learner, so I found this really helpful. It is an image of the dashboard in Actionly to show this one, I think shows post volume for searches you're monitoring. So I think it's helpful to see not only what one of the dashboard is, but some options on the side to have a better understanding. As defined previously, Actionly is monitoring social media channels for keywords. And on here you see it says it's measuring your social media ROI with Google Analytics. And ironically, I found this on Facebook. I was just searching, doing research, finding the best that I could, and I just kind of chuckled and was wondering what the Facebook presence was of a tool that is searching Facebook. There's actually not much on the site, and that doesn't really provide anything of any value, which I found really strange because that's the tool is for social media, and maybe I'm just old, but I feel like Facebook is still the prominent one. But at least gives you a visual of the dashboards that it provides. I found this to be a fun image to go with the key metrics. As you can read, there's this list that is provided of what Actionly does. But I found this image to actually be really relevant. As you see in these smaller things, it says things like dashboard, data, improvement, growth, goal. All these things are what Actionly are doing, and what like the end result is. And I just found that really fun that I actually found something really relevant to something that I just wanted to add this information in and provide an idea of what it's doing. And in other words, this image also provides that. All right. Our first question is, would you consider Actionly Web 1.0 or 2.0? Before we can answer that question, we need to first define both webs. First, we have Web 1.0. This refers to the World Wide Web during its first few years of operations during 1991 and 2003 to 2003. It's considered a read-only web, meaning you can only search and read. There's not interactions like we have today, which leads us to Web 2.0, the next generation of internet use. A distinctive communication platform characterized by new qualities, collaborating and sharing, you're interacting, you're involved with what is happening, which is what we're mostly familiar with. An example of Web 1.0 would be a personal site where it just has the information of the site owner and that's it. There's no adding, there's no changing, there's no feedback on this whatsoever. An example of 2.0 would be like social media. We have, the example I found when searching was ironically MySpace. It's not really in existence anymore and probably not known by many students, but Facebook, Instagram, you're constantly adding, you're constantly changing um, to it. Now that we've defined what each Web 1.0 and 2.0 is, it's pretty clear to see that Actionly is 2.0. I think the fact that Web 2.0 is using the example of social media and Actionly is using social media, it makes it pretty clear to see. Um, you have the content sharing, collaboration. I thought this image from the textbook was actually really appropriate because Actionly's, using these things like the inputs of these different bubbles to come up with the information that it does.
Question 2. Explain why virtual companies such as Actionly would need to worry about new social media websites. There are several reasons why Actionly would need to worry about new social media websites. The need to incorporate new data sources into the current program without changing the overall performance or usefulness of the data analytics is critical. Ensuring that their platform can participate in these new services without violating up and coming social media platforms' terms of services could hinder their ability to operate. There are numerous problems they face. These are the most relevant and likely to happen in the case of new social media platforms. Social media platforms operate in very different ways, incorporating and manipulating different sets of data. For example, Facebook uses a system of shares and likes that support a wide array of different kinds of media, including pictures, videos, polls, and sophisticated hyperlinks. This data is innately different from another platform such as Twitter, which operates by retweets and hearts. Even though the functions may serve similar purposes, the structures of the platform build different data sets with functions that they provide. If a new social media company were to enter the market and start to build a following, their data sets would likely be completely different from the established platforms that already exist. Determining what data is useful and how to manipulate that set of data will be critical to the future success of Actionly and its customers. In the fast-moving environment that is e-commerce and social media marketing, each individual service has its own policies in place to ensure the security of their platform and their users. Many of these social media platforms sell user data in order to turn a profit, which is likely what Actionly is utilizing in order to activate these datasets. Although new platforms such as Minds.com as a feature do not divulge these datasets to third parties, if this feature becomes adopted more throughout new platforms, it could ultimately severely hinder Actionly's ability to operate. For example, if a new social media company were to begin in a country that has specific regulations over user data, or in a country that adopts new regulations, a hot button issue in American and European politics is the effects and abuses of social media platforms to their users. In recent years, Mark Zuckerberg, CEO and main founder of Facebook, has been called before the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives over such allegations. There has been serious bipartisan discussion over regulation of these companies and how they disseminate and use the data that has been collected on their users. Ultimately, Actionly will have to be prepared to adapt to a change in a way that could collect and use their data. Especially when new social media companies begin to adopt these new regulations and policies within or outside the United States.
Question 3. Identify the challenges of e-business impacting Actionly. Actionly is a service-based company only. As a virtual company, it's easy for Actionly to, get together as a business as well as to disband. Its limitation is that it can only serve one market, which is other businesses where they, appeal to other businesses that want to use, many different types of data to get a complete picture of their social media monitoring. Actionly customers have to trust that Actionly will customize their software to meet their individual needs for each uh, company. Actionly is an e-business service company and does not sell products, so taxation rules are spotty at best for Actionly to follow. Question 4. Are you for or against the following statement? Actionly invades consumer privacy by taking data from different websites such as Twitter and Flickr without the consent of the customer who posted the information. I am arguing that Actionly does not invade consumer privacy data. Every social media site has privacy settings. Anyone at any time can change what the public is allowed to see on their profile. Twitter and Flickr also have permissions to display whatever is posted onto an individual's account, both by the account owner who, may have posted, the original, and by others. Conclusion. Analytics is all about data of how many people encounter your e-business, how many people you persuade to become customers, and how much of a conversation the business has between itself and consumers. As of today, I did research into this to verify that this was true. Actionly was an e-business that was founded in 2011 when social media really became much bigger and more rampant with the advent of Facebook and, of course, Twitter. And it dissolved in 2013 by the three partners that had created it in the first place.